Well, hey there, Diet Disruptors. Carrie here. And once again, I get to do my favorite kind of episode. My favorite kind of episode is with a guest. And then my really, really favorite kind of episode is with a guest who is a client who is dying to share her story. Tina is excited and a little nervous because, she doesn't do podcasts every single day. But I know you will all make her feel welcome. So say hello to Tina, who is here from Missouri. Tina, hi. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
I am so excited. I know you're a little nervous-sighted right now because it's like nervous and excited, right? And I think when you signed up to join us, there was like an original nervous-sighted. Am I right?
Yes.
Let's talk
Absolutely.
about that first, and then we're going to talk about some other things. So you have been a client with us and just seeing all sorts of amazing success and just need to share what you're doing and how you're doing it. But when you said yes to yourself, really, and you were nervous-sighted, what were you thinking?
I asked the woman that I talked to for 24 hours to think about it. And it was just, I had done everything, it's like I had been on every single diet known to womankind. And I just thought, gosh, am I going to do this again? I'm getting ready to start a new school year. I'm a teacher. But really at the end of the day, when I talked to her the next day, I just couldn't allow myself to miss out on what I really felt like was the thing, the thing to turn it around for me.
So it's a hard choice to make to say yes to yourself. And I think it's for a few different reasons, but one of them that I hear all the time is just this fear of failing again. After trying all the things that had to be part of the fear. Was it?
Absolutely. Because it's demoralizing, when you I have had success on some of the diets that I've done for a period of time, but then inevitably motivation goes away, and the diet or the food, or I'm sorry, the weight starts creeping back on, and then I find myself in a bad situation again, and I just didn't want to do it again.
Yep, exactly. But what made you really we got inside your head a little bit clearly. What made you realize that this was something you had to try? What were you going to miss out on if you hadn't?
It made such sense. I mean, I am one of those, I have to think about things. I have to analyze things. And as she was talking to me, everything that she was telling me, and I apologize that I don't remember what her name was. She was great. Everything she was saying just resonated with me. It just seemed like this was something I could do.
Yeah.
And the recipe vault was very attractive to me. Very.
Yeah, that is amazing. It's so funny. Like I go into the recipe vault every single week to plan out my food. And I'm like, even this last night, my husband was like, gosh, that was so good. We had the taco quinoa casserole. It's like we surprise ourselves when we go and have a meal that's like so amazing. I love that. I love this. So when I really want to dig into a little bit more about your story. We have tons of teachers, and I feel like teachers and nurses, those are our top few clients. And the heart of a teacher is one who cares and gives. And it translates that into like every aspect of your life. And we always put others before ourselves. That's just sort of the nature of saying yes to being a teacher. But yet continue to research and want to learn and do all the things, right? So as you think about all the things that you tried because you wanted to do all the things and you felt that level of success, but then the failure and that kind of yo-yo back and forth, do you feel like you know now why none of those worked for the long term?
I do. I feel like like I said before, like all of us, I could do the motivation piece for a long period, but there was nothing to support me when that motivation ran out.
Yeah.
And it was feast or famine with me. Either I was depriving myself for weeks and months at a time, or I was eating everything in sight. And I knew that I was damaging my body, in the long haul. It's unhealthy, the deprivation and the binging is unhealthy as well.
Yep.
So the 3 hours eating, that I thought, okay, that just seems like it's all I'm going to do is eat, but it makes sense. I mean, and now that I've done it, I think it's 8 months now.
Yeah.
It's so natural. It's a thought in my head. I know when I leave the house in the morning, what I need to take with me. And there hasn't been even one situation that I've been in that I couldn't find something to eat or have something with me.
Isn't that amazing? 8 months. So let's really dig in. Let's tell your story. Tell us, a little bit more about where you were, what kind of really brought you here? Like, because you could keep trying and going around the mountain, but you finally decided I was going to stop. And then let's talk about all your success and why you really wanted to share with people. So give us like the lowdown on the Tina story.
Well, I am a farm girl. I grew up on a farm, and growing up on a farm, at least when I was growing up, there was a lot of fried food. It seemed like everything battered and fried, and it was awesome. And desserts and all of that. My mom was and still is a wonderful cook. And so when I got married, I became a cook too, because I thought that was another way to make my husband happy. He liked to eat, and we sat at a meal, and then the kids came along, and I was cooking like my mother cooked. And my husband and I both just got really big, and I lost 80 pounds at one time. And I struggled ever since that point. Like I would gain some, and then I would lose some, and then I would gain some more and lose some more. And I was just so tired of thinking about it all the time. And I did 1,200 calorie a day diets. That's was my thing. And the scale was my thermometer on my progress. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's how you measured success, right? If you lost or gained weight. Yep.
So I started this with Coach Michelle Kay, and she's wonderful. She is just the most patient person. And in the first month, I'll tell you, I was disappointed, because I just thought, okay, and on other things that I'd done, it seemed like out of the gate, I'd lose 5 pounds, like in a hurry, and then a few more after that. And it seemed like I could tell that I had lost some in my clothes, but I wasn't dropping like I thought that I should be. Like my past experience had led me to believe that I should.
Yep.
And she kept being supportive. And at the end of that first month, I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I wasn't feeling like I wanted to be. But over the next couple of months, it really was in that second month that things started to come together for me. And it was like, the food became easier, not as far as choices, just about the thought process.
Yeah.
So I wasn't just thinking about it so much.
Yeah.
And
you became more fluent, don't you think? It's like learning a new language. Yeah. Especially for people that are so used to calorie counting and really thinking about every calorie that you're putting in your body. And this is why everybody's experience is different, and why everybody has to be personalized, because for you, that background, that dieting PTSD that I talk about can really be hard to break through. And you might not even be realizing it at the time.
Right. I really think that I'd done a lot of damage to myself
Yeah.
too. I think
Yeah.
my body had a lot of repairing itself to do before it would, you know, let me get to the healthiest version of myself I could
Yeah.
be.
Because your body
And
will hold on to fat, it will hold on to the weight in an effort to protect you. And until it really believes that you're really going to give it what it needs, it's like, well, hang on, I got this like bank account here of stored fat that I can't let go of yet.
right.
Mhm.
Well, then I started cruising through the holidays, and I did have 2 days over Christmas that I ate in a ridiculous way. But but the next morning, I just actually, it was the night of 3 hours after I had eaten those 3 sugar cookies, I had an Aloha bar, and then I got back on.
Oh,
And
sorry. This
then
is what
I was,
happens when we're live. Okay.
that's
I didn't
okay.
turn off my
That's okay.
ringer. Okay, go ahead. Keep going. So wait, we had 3 sugar cookies. That was the ridiculous amount of eating?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
that was the last 3 sugar cookies I'd had over a
Okay,
day
gotcha,
full
gotcha.
of ridiculous eating. So, but then I got right back on every 3 hours. And then I went back to school for maybe the first time ever without those 7 to 9 pounds of holiday weight, to take
Interesting.
off. And it
Yeah.
was amazing. That was a powerful feeling for me.
Hmm.
Just it made me feel empowered.
Yeah.
And then my husband and I went to Mexico, and I did plan. I took some measured out protein powder with me, the Kiani powder. I took some Aloha bars with me, and I had some almonds and things like that.
Sure.
And I was able to eat at a Mexican resort, you know, on track. And I never felt deprived,
I was gonna say,
ever.
but you
I
ate,
just
right? Like you just ate and ate.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. I had my first meal in the hotel room every morning, and I went to the gym and worked out, and
Wow.
then went to the yeah, it was great. Their workout gym is a lot nicer than my basement.
So it was almost like
It's
a
more fun to work
vacation.
out.
I mean, like a way to have
Yeah.
a different experience of a vacation. Tina, I always say when people start working with us and then 3 months later and 6 months later and 9 months later, life should continue to evolve and look very different than it did a few months prior, right? That sounds to
Yes.
me like a very good example of how your life looks different, that you're not doing things because you hate your body. You're actually doing these things, especially on vacation, because you love your
Right.
body and love yourself. Would you agree that
Absolutely.
that observation is accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like I am in a healthier place right now than I was when I was 35 years old.
Wow.
And I'm a lot older than that now. So I just I had really unhealthy habits,
Mhm.
and it was really hard to break those. But once I started on this plan, you have such a system in place that it's so doable. I was intimidated by the process because I knew it was a thing. This was a whole lifestyle, a whole thing. And I knew I had to be all in. And
Mhm.
I was in the portal every day. And
Awesome.
I watched the lessons, and Coach Michelle Kay and I would visit back and forth through text. And I mean, I just felt like, since I was all in, it just seemed to all come together. And by, I don't know, the end of the second month, I told Michelle, I said, I just woke up the other day and realized I feel great. I
Mhm.
feel really good.
Mhm.
And it was wonderful. I mean,
And you
it was
weren't
a
like
slow,
standing on the scale measuring your
no,
feel good, right? Like it wasn't about the scale.
absolutely. It absolutely was not about the scale. It was just, I think the process evolved so naturally that it just took like a moment for me to go, oh my gosh, I feel really good, because I had been feeling good for a while and I just hadn't recognized that slow change that had been going, throughout my body and
Yeah.
my mind also. My
Yeah.
mindset was in a good place.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about progress in your body and progress in your mind, right? So what kind of progress have you seen within your body with everything that you've done for so long? I think you made mention that this was the longest time, either was it that you stuck with something or you've seen this much progress in your adult life?
That I was this excited
Mhm.
about the progress that I had made in my entire adult life. And like I said, I have been able to lose weight at other times, but it was so hard to maintain because there was so much deprivation that went with it. And this is
Yeah.
just,
And with those other weight losses, did you feel like you had, when you lost 80 pounds or whatever it would be, that you had confidence after that to keep it off? Or was there fear that it would come back on?
oh, 100% fear,
Mhm.
100%.
What a difference it is to see progress and have confidence about the future. Would you agree?
Yes,
Mhm. Okay,
absolutely.
so
And
keep
I think
going.
that is okay. I think what you just said, I think that is the biggest game changer
Mhm.
because for the first time, I really feel like I have found the thing. I have found um, a practical and doable way to maintain good health.
Yeah.
Not my weight on the scale. I have sinus infection right now. I went to the doctor a few days last Saturday, and they weigh me. Always you weigh when you go, and I I was happy, but I have always had this number, in my mind of where I thought I needed to be, and for the first time, I was like, that's great. And I just moved on. It was like it was one piece of data
Mhm.
over a a pile of data that I could use to measure how I feel and the progress that I've made. So
Wow, that's
I
amazing.
I agree. I
Especially for
agree. But
someone
I
that
think
weighed themselves all the time, right?
religiously.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Every single morning. Every
And
single morning.
so when you go to the doctor and you get weighed and you're like in a good place around your progress and you hear the number, like before it would have been ride or die on
Oh, absolutely.
that. Mhm.
Absolutely. And I had for just a second, I thought, okay, my goal was 5 pounds less than that. And then I thought, so what? You're being ridiculous, Tina. Stop it.
Yeah, because you pull
And
that number out of wherever, right?
right,
But I always say
right,
when you get to your optimal health, you get to your optimal weight, and you're within 5 pounds of that random
yes,
number, which you could like gain or lose within a day, depending on how much water you drink. I mean,
exactly.
that's amazing, and I'm so proud of you because you hear a number that would have been like really, truly, you felt like was your goal, right? But at the end of the day, you're like,
Right,
okay, great. And really just focused on all the other things.
right. I've told my family that I really feel like I'm letting my body decide what my ideal weight is, where I'm supposed to be. This is the first time ever that I haven't had like a laser focused goal on a certain number on the scale. So because this is a marathon, not a sprint, like
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
said. I mean, where this just keeps going on. So there's
And
no
not
end
even a
game here.
marathon with the finish line. It just keeps on
Exactly,
forever.
exactly.
So, I
Right.
mean, I think that that's really interesting where you have this, like, I remember when I started developing this freedom from the scale and this freedom from obsession, but a healthy amount of focus on myself and what I'm doing, but not an obsession. And when we think about the change in mindset, let's dig into that a little bit. So we know that you're having these amazing changes in your body, not just in weight, but overall health. And
Yes.
and what about your mindsets compared to where you were and where you are, and where you feel like you still want to go?
I really, I feel like I look at food in a healthy way now. I mean, when I came off the first month, I really didn't have anything except for Diet Coke that I had been missing. And I still haven't had a Diet Coke because I know that the sweeteners in them are so bad for you. But I really, there wasn't anything. So I didn't really add much in at all. And when I talk about an appreciation meal, most of the time, it's really just eating what I would eat anyway, just maybe more of it.
Yep.
Or maybe there's more, a little more fat or something,
But
you know, in it.
Your taste buds kind of change, and what you crave ends up changing because a healthy body craves healthy food.
Exactly.
It's a really good indication
Exactly.
that you're in a good
Yes.
place, and that's so different from diets because it's always about deprivation, what we can't have, and our body's not thriving. So we crave all of these sugars and sweeteners and stuff because our body's actually totally dysregulated. And I think it's such an important distinction to make when it comes to that. Because it's not
I
to say
agree.
you get to have anything you want, right? Like it's not like you can't have something. You're just choosing not to, but not because, again, you're on this diet or you hate your body. It's because you just love your body and want to serve it. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I mean, I don't feel like I have done something wrong if I eat more of something or I have something that, you know, is maybe a yellow light or a red light food. I don't feel like
or serving your soul versus serving your body, right?
Exactly. And I don't use the word cheat anymore, which that's a really big distinction. I mean, really, it's the things you say to yourself in your head that can really mess with progress and with your overall, I don't know, health and feeling good about yourself. So I'm trying to take some of those negative words out of my mean girl vocabulary going on in my head.
I love that. And it's something that we will continue to evolve because as you continue to live this lifestyle and cultivate what I say is this marriage between you and your body, you're never done. You have to continue to check that, just like you would in a marriage. Is always continue to make sure that you're showing up in a way that's kind and loving as much as possible and consistent more than anything else. So answer me this, Tina. What does the healthiest version of Tina do and say and think and believe?
Oh, wow.
Good question, right?
Yeah. Okay. The healthiest version of Tina definitely follows this PFC3 that you have laid out so beautifully and easily for those of us to follow. One thing that I need to do more, one of the most attractive things to me was the recipe vault. And yet I find myself intimidated at times of getting in there. Now I have made some of the recipes and I've loved them, but I love it when people post pictures and say what they have made because I'm always writing them down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try that. I need to do that more.
Taco quinoa casserole, I'm telling you.
Okay. Okay. All right. So do and say. The saying part is I talk to my kids and my husband, who is a diabetic. I told him about Ernest. It's Ernest, right?
Yeah,
the guy who
Ernest on our podcast recently. Yeah.
Yes. I watched that, and the whole time I'm thinking, Kevin, he's got to watch this because I really, when I signed up for this, I wanted it for me and him. And but he has it in his head that he can't eat every 3 hours. He's a farmer and he doesn't have time to blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to ask him to give me a week. And and then
I
have
love
him,
it. This is why
you know,
when you put on your own oxygen mask, you were so well equipped to be able to then put on others. And
yes.
this is amazing. Okay, keep going.
I think if he sees that with planning and me helping, a week he'll be fine. And
Yep.
then that week can maybe turn into 2 in a month. And I've really been talking to my daughter. She has battled weight, and she has lost, and she is an awesome go-getter. She's doing fitness routines and workouts every day. She's eating healthy, but I have really been working on her, talking to her, and she's not ready yet, though. She's not ready to commit to a PFC every 3. But she will. I know she will, because she's watching. You know, she's
Funny because we
watching.
know it. Like when we talk to women, I love that you were invited into our family. We can't bring everybody in. You know, like our community is relatively small. We purposely try to keep it that way because I want to keep my fingers on everybody. And we want our coaches to be like Michelle K was with you, that knew you and loved you and cared for you, and that you felt it. But we also know with all the women we talk to, when women aren't ready, you know, and you were ready. And I love that you can actually recognize that she's not ready yet, and that, you know, I'm going to be patient and continue to model until she is. That's actually as
Absolutely.
important as teaching it, is knowing when to teach it.
Right. Because I
Beautiful.
don't want to push her away. I
Mhm.
want, and I'm hoping that by example that she can see. And I drop little tidbits in every once in a while when we're talking about recipes and eating. And I know that she will be eating this way eventually.
Yep.
I know it in my heart. I'm sure of it.
I mean, you know, so
So
much now that you can teach it. You can teach blood sugar stabilization. You can teach the science behind it. And as a teacher, be able to really share what you know. And that's the whole point of this. Yes, it is for you, but it's also because you need to be a blessing for others and to be able to share that with others. I can only share with so many people at a time. All right. So now the last part, though, is what does the healthiest Tina think and believe?
I believe that I am going to be healthy for a very long time. I am going to run and play with my grandkids and always be that Nana who's out there with them and not sitting on the sidelines. I believe that I'm going to live a long life and a healthy life, and be strong in mind and heart and body. I just feel like this has given me a suit of armor. Not that I need defending from the world, but just, I don't know, just no matter what life throws at me, I feel like I'm prepared. Like I've got this.
Yeah.
I've got this. And so that is my greatest blessing. It truly is. I just feel like all of these diets, I have spent thousands of dollars on diets over the years, diet food and different plans and diets. And I feel like I finally am doing the right thing for me, and I'm done. I found it. You know, I don't have to look anymore. And that day that I was scrolling through Facebook and I clicked on you was a day that has brought me so many blessings, and I will be forever grateful.
Oh, I'm just grateful that you trusted me because I know that there's so much out there and it's so hard to trust. I mean, it's so hard to say yes to yourself, and it's so hard to think about not being successful. And so I love the fact that you were afraid, but you did it anyway. And that's actually where the courage is. The courage is not in not being afraid. It's in being afraid, but still knowing that you have to do it. And so you're the real hero here. I just love these stories. And you now finally, it's like that freedom is setting the stage for you to go do something else with the time that you have been spending obsessing, stressing, and searching. And now you have capacity for so much more.
We bought a lake house.
Say that again?
Last year.
Okay.
We bought a lake house. That sounds like bigger than it is. It's a small lake, and it's about 30 miles from our house. Okay. And it's a home where our family goes and we play. And we're there almost every weekend in the summer. And I'm going to be retiring as a teacher next year. So when you talked about going forward, I am looking forward to retirement, but it will not be me sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch, watching life go by. I'm going to be active. I'm going to be out there doing things and having new experiences. And I have lots of energy to do things. So I'm excited. I'm ready.
And that's like what Ernest said a few weeks ago. He was going to retire and now he's not going to. You're like, I'm going to retire. And trust me, as a former teacher of 20 years, I mean, how long have you been teaching?
24.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Like that's the day you're just like, I can't wait because I am ready to go do the thing. So I'm so excited for you and what you have in store, but also what will happen with your family, because we are momfluencers. And I always say that it takes you really truly doing and living and modeling, and you're just, it will come. It will come. It will come. It's about you being consistent. And I know that your farmer will get there.
I hope so, because I want him to be healthy and have a long life walking right beside me. So absolutely. I want him to get that blood sugar down. So
exactly, because we know the damage of blood sugar, anything that's destabilized, but especially once diabetes hits, the medication is only going to tame it for so long. And it's not going to, our body can't hide from the impact, the debilitating impact of diabetes. And so I'm just so grateful that you said yes, not just for you, but for your entire family. And then even, I know you were nervous doing this, you showed up anyway, and the people you will impact just by showing up in this way as well. So Tina, thank you. I mean, what do you say to somebody if they're watching and they're just like, I don't know, like what's that little bit of inspiration to help them just take that one more step further into saying yes to themselves?
Just do it. Don't overthink it. It is my, I do it terrible. I overthink things. Mm-hmm. They've got you. The people in Disruptive Nutrition, they've got you. There's so much support. There's so many resources. I mean, I think you have to choose to fail. I mean, I just don't even think it's possible to fail in this. If, there's so much support. Take a chance on yourself and do it.
I've never heard anybody say that before, but I think that's really, really true. You really do have to decide, I'm not going to show up. It's why we do always want to have a phone call and chat with people first to make sure that they seem like they're really ready to say yes to themselves.
Right.
So, oh my gosh, you're so inspirational. You're amazing. Congratulations to everything that you have. And, like you're a part of our family forever. So we'd love for you to come back. I think you need to come back and tell us more about progress in your family. How about we make that a goal?
All right.
It's almost like a reality show. Once we know and get to love you, we got to know about your husband and your daughter and all the other things. So we'll bring you back in a few months and you can give us an update.
All right. Sounds good.
You're the best.
Thank you so much for everything. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.